Greetings. This isn't a channel about politics, but sometimes we touch upon that, and we're going to touch upon that today. And this is a channel where I like to give you practical advice that you can use. So before we get to this kind of somewhat amusing and somewhat sad story, I would like to give you the lesson for today, which is that today we hear a lot about politics, especially since Trump ran for office. I guess because Trump made things a lot more exciting. He's an entertainer by his background and by nature, and he made things very entertaining. We were seeing a guy that is genuinely very funny in Trump when he was doing the debates and such. And when you think about it, looking for entertainment, look at comedy. We have professional comedians like Joe Rogan, who doesn't even have jokes, and yet somehow this is one of the top stand-up comedians out there. The guy doesn't have jokes. I've never heard the guy ever say anything funny. But then we have Trump up there on free TV going through these debates or giving speeches, and he's genuinely funny, and he's also triggering all the freaks out there, which makes things all the more entertaining and amusing. But politics is very much about entertainment these days more than ever, and I feel like in America it's become like sports, how people like to follow sports and they like to root for your team. The Democrats like to root for their team. The Republicans like to root for their politicians representing them, even if those politicians aren't even in their best interests to support. It's like supporting your team, and it's all become a big show. So I want you guys to make sure not to get too sucked into the show, and because these things, they can really very much have a negative toll on your life. These days we're amusing ourselves through death. People are obsessed with the latest Netflix shows or Game of Thrones, or like there's guys that will come home and they'll play video games for several hours instead of giving their wife and kids attention. There's other guys that are getting sucked into porn instead of actually finding a wife and having fun with real women, dating real women and finding someone to love. They get sucked into pornography, and then even if they find someone, they always have that on their mind. And there's a lot out there, but politics especially can be quite toxic, so you got to be careful not to get too sucked into it. I want to give you guys information where you can go about your life, live a happy and successful life, and do what you want to do in life. I want to arm you guys with that information to make you a successful person, which to me really means happiness, so you got to be careful about that. But okay, now that that's the lessons out of the way, I'm done preaching. Let's get to the story. So Senator Elizabeth Warren, if you don't know who that is, that's the lady that got into Harvard, and for many years she got into Harvard pretending to be an Indian, and she's kept up this charade over the decades, and she just won't admit to it. She's just totally, even though it's out that she's been a total liar. And this is a lady that's running for president. Believe it or not, our country somehow has become such a joke that you can have someone running for president that is such a fraud that just uses anything they can, including trying to leverage brown privilege as a white person. That's almost kind of impressive. Lying to get accepted by Harvard and then going about it for your political career. But you remember the Covington Catholic boys? Well, she's been named in a lawsuit against them for slandering them. And here she is, like someone questioned her about it.
Senator, any reaction to the defamation lawsuit by the Covington Catholic students about your tweet that came out today?
I don't even know about it.
Oh, you got reported on.
No, sorry.
They named you in a defamation lawsuit for your tweet that said they endured hateful talks that you operated. They're asking for an apology.
No, I don't even know what this is about.
Senator,
It's just flat out lying, denying that she even knows these boys, that she libeled online through her tweet, pretending like they don't exist. And here, it's pretty easy to find her tweet. Omaha Elder, which is the tribe he's supposed to be about. By the way, I did a video before showing how this guy did a fake hate. He did a hate hoax, meaning a fake hate crime he tried to stage at my former university that's kind of been exposed since then. But of course, mainstream media doesn't want to report that this guy went around doing these hate hoaxes, staging hate crimes. But here she says, Omaha Elder and Vietnam veteran, not a Vietnam veteran, by the way. The guy was stationed in the United States, and he was a refrigerator repairman. That was his job in the Army. So, in a way, he was a Vietnam era war veteran, but they keep intentionally trying to mislead you, thinking that this guy saw combat, when meanwhile this guy was working on refrigerators in the United States. But Omaha Elder and Vietnam War veteran, he hasn't been in war, Nathan Phillips endured hateful taunts with dignity and strength, then urged us all to do better. Well, obviously it's been proven that he did not endure any hateful taunts. He was the hater in all of this. All these people like Elizabeth Warren, these types that claim that others are the haters, obviously they're always the most hateful ones. And the whole thing is a big joke. It's comedy, but you also have to be careful not to fall for this big show and get too involved in it. So go ahead, leave a comment down below, watch other videos, and I hope you found this video about Pocahontas, this fake Indian now running for president. Hopefully you found it amusing.